Microsoft announced this week that it would be shutting down Skype in May after over 20 years of service. Even though it cornered the video teleconferencing market, it failed to maintain steam after the Microsoft acquisition in 2011. Wait, falling short after the acquisition and shutting down in May? Are you sure you're not talking about us? Said the UFL. Welcome to the Moon Stamcast. This is the oh boy spring football to my peaked in the early 2000s. Brian, how are you doing?
I'm exhausted.
Funny enough, so is the UFL player negotiations. So who knows if it even makes it to the season at this point. But yeah, I'm exhausted too. I was talking to my girlfriend on the way home, just spouting nonsense. It's whatever I felt like talking about. She's like, "You're really tired." I'm like, "Hell yeah, I am." So let's get started. This is the perfect time to talk about sports, especially to talk about Jose Altuve in left field. Apparently, also, do you still have tape on your Notre Dame hat?
No, that's actually part of it.
Okay, never mind. I didn't know if you were still boycotting or
no,
sad about
that. That's just it's a design choice.
Just like Marcus Freeman made choices during that game. But we won't talk about that. That's not this. I don't know. I was trying to make a connection. We're both tired. So Jose Altuve, left field, playing left field this season, confirmed by Joe Espada. I don't know how, listen, this has nothing to do with him playing left field. I just don't feel personally right about it because it feels like, when something just off, like the vibe is just off. As Big Red Machine would say, I got a vision for a mission, but an awkward vibe. That's no one's going to get. That's like, I don't know. It feels like that with Altuve in left field, where it's just like, I know he can play it, but it just doesn't feel right to me.
It doesn't feel right at all.
No.
I mean, because it's left.
Yeah. It just,
sorry. We're like,
it's going to be,
we've said it 4 times already. We're exhausted. Luckily, we don't have to worry about his height too much in left field, trying to rob home runs because of the Crawford box. On the road, that could be an issue, I guess. But Altuve still has speed. And Dubon is a natural infielder. So putting Dubon at second is not a bad thing. Unless they plan on trading for the Cardinals third baseman still and then moving Paredes to second, which I don't hate that move at all, but depends what we'd have to give up. We don't have a lot to give up. Plus with Cam Smith doing what he's doing in spring training, man, I'm so excited for the future. Oh man, thank you, Cubs. But Altuve in left field, I guess we'll just see what happens. It's not like if we give this 20 games and it doesn't work, it's not like they can never go back. They can figure it out. So I guess we just kind of hold our nose and hopefully it works out.
Yeah, I mean, Jose Altuve is a good enough player, an adaptable enough player to where even if he's an issue robbing home, I mean, how many home runs is he going to be able to rob? Like, statistically speaking, yeah. Like, unless it's like right there, right? It's like a line drive home run. I don't imagine he's going to be robbing a lot of home runs, but like, I don't know. Don't let them hit home runs, even though that's not how that works. But yeah, I am excited for the season. Thank you, Kyle Tucker. We speak your name. We will miss you forever. Maybe you'll come back one day. But yeah, I also don't think the Astros are going to make any trades at this point. Kind of historically speaking, since the quote unquote revival of the Astros, they haven't ever gone out really in not August. In August they usually go out and get somebody, but usually in March, February, April, they're relatively quiet. They kind of let their squads speak for themselves in spring training and go from there. Once August rolls around, we'll maybe make a trade or two, kind of get a guy in there to see if we can make the postseason and or maybe make a deep run. But that's really all for my baseball news, other than Jeffrey Yon, who I want to succeed so badly. I don't know if you know who Jeffrey Yon is. He's the Rockies pitcher who throws the ball and then does like a Superman smash on the ground after he throws the ball. Just super cool guy. Go look him up if you haven't. I think he was middling away in the minors for a long time. So I don't really know. I think he's with someone else at some point. He was just in their minor league system. The Rockies have given him a chance to pitch in spring training. I really don't know what his stats look like, but I do not care. The Rockies are not going to make the World Series. They're not going to make the postseason. Again, there was a better chance of the asteroid hitting Earth than that Rockies had of making the postseason, just in general. So just let them play. I don't know if you have anything else on baseball. It's just spring training.
Nothing. I'm
Okay.
pretty out of sports news this week because of certain getting married. Jesus, that took a lot to get out of me. I
I didn't
didn't
know if
pay
you were
attention
gonna.
too much to the sporting world in Colombia too much, but yeah,
Yeah.
I've got some stuff, but you're going to be leading a lot of this.
Well, it's mostly. I mean, it's a college basketball heavy week. A lot has happened. I wrote notes. Who knows if I'm going to hit all of them? Who knows if I'm going to remember everything I wrote down? Sometimes I write down notes, and it makes sense in the moment, and then I come back and I'm like, I don't know who wrote that. I did see the Mavericks are increasing their season ticket prices or the ticket prices next season by 8.6%. So truthers, Austin truthers or Vegas truthers out there, another win for you guys. So you guys are always right.
I do have a little bit of NBA actually because I did catch the game last night. Reed Shepard, first round pick for the Rockets, had his first career start yesterday. His line: 25 points, 5 assists, 2 rebounds, 2 steals, and 1 block. Not bad
Not
from the
bad.
Rook. Unfortunately, we lost by 9 to OKC, but promising things from Reed Shepard. It's taken a long time to get him going, and with his first start, he looked pretty good. We just need to develop him from here. There's very few rookies that come into the league and just have immediate great impact. So there's been a little bit of people on Rockets Twitter and San Antonio Twitter actually crossing over with Rockets Twitter, being like, haha, wasted a pick on Reed Shepard and shit. No, you got to let these players develop and shit. But good showing from the rookie. Hopefully first of many.
Yeah, I mean, not everyone's going to be a Wemby, San Antonio. And this class is not, I mean, Jorden McCain, that's why I did this. We speak your name, Jorden McCain, because he was probably on track for Rookie of the Year, but just hurt himself, which is sad. I mean, it's the 76ers curse, so it's kind of sad. But I did not catch that game because I was watching the other Houston game, this basketball game last evening, which we'll get to in a second. I do want to talk about Jayson Tatum. And I know I in the past have the Forbidden episode talked badly about Jayson Tatum. I want to actually defend Jayson Tatum real quickly. I think it's everyone's opinion that he's a kind of a corny person and has no aura. With that said, the Cavaliers game where he said go home, the go home gesture he made when they were up 25-3 in the first period or first quarter. Sorry, I watched college basketball. I don't see a problem with that. Like, I just don't. I don't think this is like this corny move, this bad move. If you're up 25-3 in the first quarter against a professional basketball team, I think it's appropriate to do that. I have no problem with them doing that. And it's not like they lost by like 30. It was a close game at the end. So I kind of want to give him like, listen, I'm not a Jayson Tatum defender by any means. I'm not a Celtics fan, not really even an NBA fan, more of a college basketball guy myself. With all that said, I want to say I don't think what he did was that corny. And if you're in the middle of the game, like people want so badly to have like the 90s era trash talking back. Okay, like he just did that. Like, did it come back to bite him? Of course, but let's not pretend like I don't know, like Larry Bird. Not Larry Bird was in the 90s, but like Larry Bird, like talking absolute shit to somebody, didn't ever come back to bite him. Let's not pretend like the 90s were not trash talking each other in like really far away games. So I just want to like quickly say, Jayson Tatum, I'm on your side here. I don't think what you did was wrong. And I think people making fun of you are just missing the point.
NBA fans are interesting people. I'm talking like hardcore NBA fans, the ones that like live on TikTok and Twitter and social media talking about the NBA. That's like their personality or that's their hobby, which is fine. They're very interesting because they say that kind of stuff where where's these players that care? Where's the 90s mentality? Where's the, the brutal rivalries and stuff? And then if a player talks shit and then they don't win a game, they just clown on them and I'm just like, why would the NBA players want to put themselves in a position for the entire world to shit on them and to do the things you want about creating rivalries and being aggressive and talking shit and being like the 90s mentality, if you will. And then they just are going to get shit on by the media and by fans if they do it and it doesn't work out. That means one team every year won't get clowned on. And don't get me wrong, the team that wins is allowed to clown on everyone. But like, if you're if you're a Cleveland fan, you have every right to go at Jayson Tatum. That's how it goes. But it's the fucking kids from the woodworks that are just like, haha, my favorite player could never. Your favorite player is boring.
Yeah.
First off, it's just, unless it's LeBron or KD or something. It's just, I don't know. It's this weird hypocrisy in NBA
threw KD
fans.
In there.
I mean, KD is one of the most interesting, like, haters in ever. And he has no problem. It's happened several times where I'll just open Twitter and it's just KD tweeting at some random account with 200 followers, just completely ending their time online by just dunking on them, literally dunking on them, and it's just. I don't know, man. Like, NBA Twitter wants it both ways, and they just can't have it both ways, and they don't understand that. And it's not just Twitter; it's TikTok and fans in general. But it's just like, I don't know, man. I completely agree with your point about why clown on him. That's like, you're up 25-3 in a professional game. Your emotions are running high. Do you just want robots out there? I don't know.
No. So that to me showed me something. Like, again, I have gotten in trouble online before for my Tatum takes, probably appropriately so. At the same time, forbidden episode. At the same time, I just can't clown on a guy talking some trash. Did it come back to bite him? Sure. But at the end of the day, it was like, you're up 25-3 against a professional basketball team. I think that's a fair time to clown on somebody. So whatever, Jayson Tatum would speak your name. But yeah, I don't watch much basketball, but I do watch a lot of college basketball. Let me just talk about things. First off, Big 12 college or Big 12 conference champions. I'm so, like, last year I was so happy because going into the Big 12 for the first season, so many people have been like, oh, going to the big boys league finally. The AAC was nothing on this, and then UH goes and wins the conference. Maybe with, you had Jamal Shedd on there. You had like a great solid core. You can make the argument, well, they had a good score already. Let's see if they can do it again. They did it again. And they also, they didn't clown on Kansas, but Kansas did lose, which is always fun. So shout out to UH Cougars. I love you. This was a fantastic season to watch. It didn't feel as like scary at times as I felt last season. I think because Iowa State wasn't making the run it was making last year. So I just have to say that. Rick Pitino, the coolest guy in college basketball. It's always been that way. He is the godfather of college basketball, but he has to remind us every once in a while. I was watching St. John's versus, I can't remember who they were playing, with my girlfriend with his white suit on. She's like, why does that guy have a white suit on? I'm like, it's Rick Pitino. He just does that kind of thing. It's like
him.
It's like we talk about Jayson Tatum with aura. That man, Rick Pitino is like Seto Kaiba aura, where he just walks in a room and you're like, okay, I got you. I get it. Finally. He's turned St. John's around. I like, they're not going to win the national championship. They just aren't. But with that, like, I love Rick Pitino. Whatever crimes he committed, whatever NCAA violation. What's that? He was a great guy. What about the murder? What murder? What NCAA violations? So Rick Pitino, you're the coolest guy alive. I'm sorry that I ever forget that. It's like, whatever. I'm tired. It's like forgetting 9/11. Sometimes, you're never supposed to do, but sometimes you do. It's the same thing. Like, sometimes you forget Rick Pitino's the coolest guy in college basketball. He has to go out there and remind you. I love this. You go ahead.
No, I've got the Alabama game covered. Just the intro to the Alabama game.
Okay.
Covered. Go ahead.
I was going to say, we can talk about the SEC. I just want to talk about Georgia. Georgia had one of the most interesting weekends in all of college basketball because going in, I think Jorden already had them maybe first four out, or maybe not, maybe like second four out. This weekend, they beat Alabama and Texas. Texas, who was also on that bubble, and they played themselves so much into the tournament that they're now an 11 seed, and Jorden already doesn't even have them on the bubble. So Georgia basically played themselves into the tournament this weekend. Thought that was super cool. Do I love a team with Georgia's record making it into the tournament? Maybe not. Would I enjoy maybe another Big East team in there? Throwing maybe a Mountain West team in there, an AAC team. Like, get UAB there. which I'll talk about UAB versus Memphis in a second. Sure, but it's cool to watch a team remember how to play basketball in March and play themselves in a tournament. So love that for Georgia. Congratulations, gentlemen. I also like when everyone beats Texas as a horns down man myself. I played Texas for an entire season, or my team played Texas for an entire season. So, Brian, Alabama game.
So, Jorden, as you know, it was a big weekend for couples. I got married. Shane Gillis had arguably one of the best skits in SNL, like recent history, past 10 years, with a couple of beers, and Nate Oats leaving a couple of timeouts in his back pocket, which might have cost him the game in Tennessee. Yeah, dude, what the fuck are you doing with 2 timeouts at that close of a game in the closing out minute? That is horrid coaching. I know I'm primarily a football fan, but if you walk away with multiple timeouts in a close game, I often question what the hell you're doing and what the hell you're thinking.
Yeah, it felt like it felt like a Nathaniel Hackett game where you're at the end of the game, you're just like, hey, what the fuck's going on? And you're a neutral. I can only imagine what Alabama fans like you are feeling. Me, myself, I was like, I don't really like Nate Oats that much, so I'm happy with whatever happens. But yeah, I don't know. Like, maybe there's some thought that he's like, if we go to overtime, but like, I don't know. But like, it doesn't carry. I don't know. I don't know what he was thinking. I don't know if Nate Oats, like, there's sometimes when really good coaches, and I will say, even in my Nate Oats hate, Nate Oats is a good coach. Let me show for the record. Sometimes I think really good coaches outcoach themselves because they're trying to figure out how to win the game, and they just kind of like forget how to actually just the basics. It's like a fundamental tackle. Sometimes you just gotta make the good clean tackle, but you're feeling so either the adrenaline's pumping. There's a good, like, you see the angle, you go for something a little crazy, and you miss the tackle. It's kind of like that. I don't know. I'm happy with Alabama losing. Does it kind of change maybe the ability for them to play Auburn again, the SEC conference tournament? Maybe. I really haven't seen the bracket. I've only focused on the the Sun Belt bracket, which I think is the coolest bracket. We can talk about that in a second. But yeah, that was a fun game as an Alabama kind of hater, but not really a hater, just like a college basketball enjoyer.
I also screwed that joke up. I was supposed to clarify that the Shane Gillis thing was a couple of beers. And just real quick for you can cut this if you want. The I'm Brian, I'm joined by the I've only had a couple to my hope Georgia football players don't watch SNL was the back and forth there. But dude, I don't like, even unless they're like, and I didn't watch the game. I only watched the last minute, I think, because I was getting married, and then I caught the last minute on my phone as I was waiting for we were waiting for the buffet. So, and Megan went to the bathroom, so I was like, let me check my phone real quick. And I watched it through Twitter too. So I don't really watch the game, but unless you're going on they're up 15 in the last 3 minutes and you go on a run to cut it, to make it that close of a game, and you don't want to cut momentum, you gotta take your timeouts. Like, one is fine, but 2 is like, and that a closer game is like, what are you doing? I'm sure you could have either advanced the ball, you could either, gave your players a breather, you could either slowed momentum down for Tennessee, something. I don't know. I don't like it. And I agree that Nate Oats is a great coach. Mm-hmm. It's just, great coaches make mistakes all the time, but not in that big of a game to freeze like that. Not reassuring.
Especially with like young guys, like college guys. Sometimes you just want to have a second to get their mind right, because who knows what they're thinking. Like, they are. I mean, you can say they're like semi-professional in some sense, but they're still young guys who just need sometimes maybe a second in a big game like that to breathe for a second. So I don't know what Nate Oats was thinking. It doesn't, like, not to say it doesn't matter. It maybe matters for their seeding in the tournament. But we'll see what happens with that for Selection Sunday. I don't know. Maybe losing to Georgia will screw them. We'll see. But it's like, it's consequential, but also inconsequential. It's weirdly both. It's a paradox. It's both consequential and inconsequential. So you're not going to win the championship in the SEC. they're probably not going to win the tournament, but we'll see what happens with that.
I also feel like Alabama's been on a huge downswing. Is that crazy?
No, but they've also like only played good teams. They have gotten like they literally have not gotten a breather. Georgia
they lost to Auburn, they lost to Missouri, they lost to Tennessee, they lost to Kentucky, and they lose to Kentucky.
Let me look it up real quickly. I can.
Sorry. I just feel like I've been hearing a lot of Alabama losses, and yes, I know it's the better teams, but yeah. I think they're like 2-6 in their last 8.
So they lost Kentucky. They beat Kentucky. They lost to Tennessee. They beat Mississippi State. They lost to Missouri. They lost to Auburn. So there's only been a couple losses. It's just they're bigger.
Maybe it's losses. Because they're such big games that we hear about them more.
Because everyone watched Auburn, Alabama, and saw that. Missouri was a. I wouldn't call it a come down game because it was 4 days later, but it's still a hard game. Missouri scored 110. They didn't stop them at all. They also scored 98 points. They beat Kentucky pretty handily. They beat Mississippi State I remember we were talking about that last week, and I was like, depends on if they can shoot. And they scored 111 points. So they could shoot that game. And then they went on to lose to Tennessee by 3.
Okay. So maybe it's just hearing that like they have these games are so like high held, like this is a good game. Maybe just being in the spotlight for so long and splitting those games, it feels like they've been on a downturn. And to be fair, I watched the Missouri game and it didn't look good.
Yeah, it does. I mean, that's the Alabama paradox. I also realized I've been saying they lost to Georgia. Don't know why. I'm fucking tired. I was in an 8-hour meeting today, so so much fun. I was thinking of Florida for some reason, but
episode title is definitely like the little ending thing that we do. I try and normally throw in a little joke or something in there.
Yeah,
we're tired.
Yeah, we're tired.
And exhaustion.
And exhaustion. Also, $7,000.
That was so fucking funny, dude. That might be one of my favorite clips we've ever put out.
I know. And the thing is, it actually got a lot of likes for what it was.
Good. Deserved it.
It was good. But yeah, no, Alabama, again, when they shoot well, they shoot well. And Mississippi State, it was just they killed them. Mizzou they were tired. They also just didn't defend. Alabama doesn't play what I would call stellar defense anyway. But when a team is hot and maybe they're a little just cold, they get killed.
So we've talked about that in the past, that the SEC is it's trending opposite in football too. But traditionally, SEC defenses where it was at. It was run the ball and hard-nosed defenses. Past 5-6 years, it's been a little bit different, but basketball was different where it was high flying offenses and no defenses. Yeah. Is that still, that was at the beginning of the year. Is that still the trend now? And
yes.
Who would you say is probably the defensive juggernaut in the SEC?
Texas A&M, actually, surprisingly. They can shoot the ball. And I mean that as like, I think I talked about this. They were like 300th in field goal percentage, 300th and like 350th in free throw percentage, but like 13th in rebounds, and they're still winning games. And they're not. Let me check with them real quickly. I haven't checked in on them in a second, just because it's Texas A&M. So why would you? But they were the defensive juggernaut for a long time. Yeah, because they're 22 now. They lost a couple games here and there throughout, but they lost to Tennessee. They lost to Vanderbilt, but only by 2. They lost to Florida. They were the defensive juggernaut for a while. And if you look at the scores, they do hold these teams to actually like. They only had Tennessee score 77. The thing is, they just can't shoot. So the thing with college basketball is you'll find teams that are. It's not like the NBA. Where the NBA, like a team is very good at everything because they're in the NBA. And college, you'll find like a Texas A&M where they are horrible at shooting, but they can defend for their life. And that's kind of what you need. So I'd say Texas A&M probably is the maybe the best defensive team in the SEC. I don't know if that's true. They're the team that focuses the most on defense because they have to, not because they want to, because they can't focus on offense. I could be completely wrong, but that's just my assessment of the situation. I'm also an idiot and tired. That's just my excuse this entire episode. I'm tired. You know who's also tired, Brian? Maryland fans who the 3 games they've lost this season have been on overtime or full time, not full time. I thought too much soccer. Buzzer beaters. They lost to Michigan State on a buzzer beater.
Wait, they've only lost 3 games all year?
That's not all year. It's let's look them up. It's 3 games in the
Conference play,
in the Big Ten. Which
and
again,
they've all been buzzer beaters.
they've all been buzzer beaters.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Well, I
So
mean, that's good because that means your team's good and you're in all your games.
yeah.
But that sucks.
So they lost to Michigan State by 3 buzzer beater. They lost to Ohio State by 3 buzzer beater, and then they lost to Northwestern, I think by 2 buzzer beater. So
brutal.
Oh no, it's Oregon buzzer beater. They lost to Northwestern, I think by 2 by buzzer beater as well. They lost 4 in conference. They lost more than conference play. It's your last 3 defeats, not the last 3. The last 3 defeats were buzzer beaters.
So 3 in a row?
Yeah, not 3 in a row.
Defeats.
The last 3, have been buzzer beaters.
Oh no, if you're a Maryland fan and you and there's like, it's tied or you're up 1 or 2, and the other team has the ball and there's 7 seconds left, you're going to be a trained puppy for the rest of the year to be like, if this game's over, we lost.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to be Maryland, all you have to do is get the score really close and just shoot at the end. It's going to go in. I looked at my notes. I have Alabama as a dog who wants to die. It's I need you to kill me. Please kill me. They've just been wrecked at the end of the season. So yeah, Northwestern also had to forfeit games on the West Coast because of the fires. Well, now I don't get that because professional sports have paused games. So whatever. They're not going to win the Big Ten. So
they forfeited as in like they just take L's.
They took L's. They were forced to forfeit by the Big Ten.
That doesn't seem fair.
It doesn't at all. But keep the West Coast teams happy because.
And so the West Coast teams got free wins.
Yeah.
That's
okay. Big Ten, stay classy. Big Ten. I say this is my Big Ten hate time. And then the conference tourney time. I just really want to point out the Sun Belt tournament because how it works, and like if you're a very low league like Sun Belt, you get basically 1 seed basically in the tournament, and that's the person who wins your conference tournament, which I don't love because it kind of doesn't reward you for doing well during the regular season. With that said, there was a 4-way tie for conference champion, and how their bracket works. It's if you're the 1 or the 2 seed, you're in the semifinals already. And there are, I think, 14 teams in the Sun Belt.
Wow.
So it actually
hella bye week.
It rewards you. I think they start tonight, maybe tomorrow night. We're filming on Tuesday. So I don't really, but I like that. I think you should get rewarded like heavily if you're a smaller team. It was a smaller conference. Should reward your conference champion pretty heavily in hopes they actually make the tournament. Now, does that mean they're going to make the tournament? No, they can still lose. They still have to play two or so games. But I think you should just kind of give them the ability to do like it's like High Point. High Point has, I think, for the past maybe 3 years, and I don't know if I'm wrong, won their conference in the conference play, and then they go to the tournament and lose the tournament. So they miss out on the NCAA tournament, which kind of sucks if you're theoretically the best team in your conference. So I think the Sun Belt's doing it right where you reward teams for doing well. Be interesting to see. I think ASUN has their championship Thursday. I don't know. They had the quarterfinals, I believe, last night. So it is conference tournament season for very small conferences, and that's always fun because it's just fun. Brian, any more college basketball notes? Okay, I want to talk to you about a situation in soccer that happened this past week that has to do with the Houston Dynamo. So it's the U.S. Open Cup, which is like an in-season tournament. I try to explain this to other people. It's hard to explain if you don't watch like European soccer. It's like the NBA in-season tournament. Actually, it's perfect. Thank you, NBA. Thank you, Adam Silver, for that. It's like the NBA in-season tournament, just for every team in the U.S. And this week, I think it was Saturday, the Dynamo played Inter Miami. Inter Miami famously has Lionel Messi on their team. And the thing with whenever Lionel Messi comes to town, ticket prices go crazy. So I think tickets are for like $800. I've been to BBVA Stadium. Nothing there should cost $800, literally ever. It's a cool stadium. If you sit on the right side, you can see downtown, a nice summer night. Awesome. With that said, no one should be spending $800 to go to that stadium. But you do if you want to see Messi. So I think it was maybe Thursday. I'm sorry, my dates are wrong. I didn't write the dates down. They released a statement that says, "Hey, we're aware that Messi didn't travel to the game. We're sorry about that. We'd still love you to come." Which,
Fuck no.
which I like. There are two sides where I see this. I see it as they've already sold the tickets and they want people to come and buy things from the Dynamo store, buy food, buy liquor, buy all that stuff. At the same time, why? Why would you like? It's the person you're facing. So it's been like a big. You have like I think it was Stu Holden was on the Dynamo side. There are like other people on Dynamo side. There are people who are like, why would you ever do that? I actually have no clue what I think because I'm on the fence of I get why would you be like, hey, please still come because it's going to be a game. Inter Miami won, I think 4-1. It wasn't a close game. But yeah, no, it was just a weird situation where our hometown team, which I wish I could watch MLS more. I just don't. I just last season I tried and I accepted I never will. There was actually one weird night where I was in my old apartment and it was like a Saturday night. I was like, I'm just gonna watch MLS tonight. I'm gonna watch MLS games and like on Apple TV. I'm gonna get down and dirty. It's like week 3, and these Verizon people came to my door to ask about my internet. I was like, hey guys, I'm trying to watch MLS, and they kind of almost like smirked at me. I was like, okay, calm down. Don't come at me, okay? But yeah, so that happened this week. I kind of see the Dynamo's point of view at the same time. They're your opponent in this game. I don't know. It feels weird to like almost apologize for someone not traveling to the game.
It's the weirdest form of glazing ever.
Yeah, which like I get it. It's messy, but at the same time, it's like have some self-respect. But again, just please come to the game and spend money. So it's like a business where they mark this on their calendar and go, we're gonna make a lot of money that night, folks. And then they were afraid they weren't. I don't know what the attendance was, but probably people still came because they paid $800. Yeah. On hockey, we're back to hockey. I want to point out something really quickly. Sidney Crosby needs 15 more points this season to equal a point a game for his 20th season in a row, which is one more season than Wayne Gretzky, who I'm informed is the great one. As we
the great one, yes.
We are not hockey fans, or we are now. We just weren't in our past. We both know who Wayne Gretzky is. Pretty handily. Everyone knows who Wayne Gretzky is. So he is 15 points away. Hope he gets it. That's kind of cool. Because from what I understand, and hockey fans can correct me if I'm wrong, one of the cool things about Sidney Crosby is that the Penguins have always been really relatively loyal to him for his tenure in the NHL, which is like, I mean, as we saw with the NBA, sometimes rare to see. And so that's kind of cool. And so I hope he does achieve that. I hope the Pittsburgh kind of gets that as a, hey, like, he's never going to be Wayne Gretzky, but that's cool that he broke that record.
Speaking of Wayne Gretzky, real quick, Ovechkin is officially 11 goals away from breaking his all-time goal record.
Dang.
So there's a great possibility he needs to have a pretty good run for the rest of the season, but 11 goals is doable.
I mean, they're what? I feel like it ends in April. The playoffs begin in April, I think. Late April. So I think
they probably have 20 games left or so.
That feels doable, but also I don't know what I mean.
I don't know if it's doable, but it's statistically, if he has a couple multi-goal games, I'm sure it is. What is the probability? Here we go. Here's my first of 3 questions, by the way. My first of 3 questions. How doable is it that Ovechkin breaks the record this year?
Don't know.
Let us know.
Yeah, please. Sound off the comments. Okay, I'm just going to say I was bad at watching hockey this week. I'm sorry. It was college basketball. So my apologies. The Maple Leafs are a team wearing Maple Leafs jerseys won Maple Leaf jerseys won in overtime in TD Garden. Where have I seen that before? I butchered that joke. But yeah, the Maple Leafs
was the attempt. Listen, you're Eva Knievel. You get paid for the attempt.
Yeah. Mitch, that's a really good one.
That's Dave Chappelle. There's no credit back for me.
Mitch Marner, who's also on Team Canada, scored the winning goal in TD Garden. So that kind of rocks for him. I think I'd be a fan of him again. So good for him. Matthew Nyes set an amazing 40 time. Speaking of the combine, kind of. A win from one goal to the other in like 4 seconds and scored a goal. It was very cool to see. Let's see if he run like a 4-5, 4-3. The goal situation, I've been informed by the Maple Leafs Reddit. I've been spoiled this year because I've been like Stolarz rocks, Wall is a wall. Apparently, in the past years, this has not been the case. They've had a horrible goalie or goaltending. So, my man Stolarz, thank you for letting me have a great first season watching this. You've been an angel. Back in, I think, before he got hurt back in December, I was like, this might be the best goalie I've ever seen. All that said, Maple Leafs are 38-20-2. They have 78 points and they're first in the Atlantic Division.
All right. On my side of things, the Avalanche are 34-24-2. We're fourth in the Central Division. We're the first wild card team in the West by 7 points, though. We're 7 points up on second place. Nathan MacKinnon is still first in points with 91, but he's only got a 1 point lead. And All Hail Kale is now 16th with 61 points. And I have a question. What is the 200 hits or 200 hits in baseball, 1,000 yards in the NFL? What is that number for points in a season where it's like, oh, he has 100-point season? That's like, wow, that's incredible. Where it's just like the benchmark for like, that was an incredible season. What is that number for points in a season, goals in the season, or assists in the season? And then my other question is to clarify from last week, for lines, is it better to have like a really, really strong 1 and 2 and then just hope that your 3 and 4 like are serviceable to survive? Or is it better to have balance throughout the 4 and just so you're not praying like, oh God, it's the fourth line with like, hopefully they don't give up a goal. We just got to hope and pray. But yeah, that's all my hockey stuff for this week.
Yeah, I don't really have much. I'm sorry. I don't, even though I butchered my college basketball where I said Georgia beat Alabama. Cool. I only had one note on the NFL, and I think I actually texted it to you.
I've got a couple.
Mike McDaniel was watching a very speedy receiver, and it's like the Jets. Just one more Aaron Rodgers friend, and Super Bowl bound. Just one more speedy receiver. It all comes together. One more fast guy, and the I almost called them Miami Dolphins. They'll get it together. So I believe in you, Mike. You got this. Just one more fast one.
Speaking of Aaron Rodgers' friends, Davante Adams has been released by the Jets today. Today is Tuesday. So I don't know. I have a good feeling wherever Aaron Rodgers signs, it'll come in hand with Davante Adams.
The Giants.
Giants.
I've seen the Giants thrown around.
I've heard a lot of Giants too, but I don't know why either one of them would do that unless they get a fat paycheck. My other things are Deebo Samuel got traded to the Commanders for a 5th-round pick. And I think San Francisco eats part of that contract too. So Commanders for a 5th and not having to pay out that full contract, it's a pretty good deal. See what you got. It's clear that the 49ers are in this weird, like, are we rebuilding? Like, we have Christian McCaffrey coming back. We have George Kittle, who's not old by any means, but he's not getting younger. We still need to figure out we've got Purdy for a year. And then if we franchise tag him next year, we would pay him $45 million. So it'd be $50 million for 2 seasons because he's only getting $5 million this year, I believe. San Francisco is almost in purgatory. They're in a really weird situation. Matthew Stafford has returned to the Rams. I was actually kind of shocked this was ever news. I didn't know what team would. I don't know, man. Like, yeah, that was the least surprising thing I saw. And I saw people being like, oh, I can't. Wow, he actually went back. I was like, I guess Vikings would have been the option, or maybe a payday from the Giants.
Or the Jets.
The Jets.
They had an aging quarterback once. Why not? Or the Colts, where quarterbacks used to go. I miss having a team where quarterbacks went to die. Like, I truly do miss a team like that. Huh?
Speaking of the Colts, by the way, the rumor has that they are a possibility for the Daniel Jones to bring him in to have him and
Anthony
Richardson compete for the starting job. And I'm just like, you know what? I welcome Daniel Jones into my division. Open arms. And then my final note that I have is that T. Higgins got franchise tagged for the second year. It looks like there's only going to be 2 or 3 franchise tags overall, but Higgins is going to have to wait another year to get paid what he deserves. Bad Bengals, bad. But I don't know. I think he's going to be making like $27 million. So it's hard to be like super upset. for him.
I
But
mean, there's one front office we can always count on to make the right choice. It's the Bengals. So good for them. But yeah, I didn't really watch the combine. I'll be honest. I pretend to care, but at the end of the day, I feel like the combine, you can maybe play yourself into a better spot, but it's hard to play yourself out. It's better. It's easy to combine yourself into a better spot, but it's hard to combine yourself out of a good spot. So I did see Travis Hunter compared himself to somebody who had a harder job than Shohei Ohtani. And as a Shohei,
listen, man, I have not done it at the professional level yet. Maybe wait until you have success in the NFL before saying anything. Because now if he gets torch, people have ammo being like, oh, you're not doing what Shohei Ohtani does because you got either your ass kicked as a cornerback or you had a 200-yard season as a wide receiver. I don't think either one of those things are going to happen. I think he's going to be successful. But let's not go ahead and compare yourself to a top 5 batter, top 10, maybe top 5 pitcher at both positions. Once you're top 5 wide receiver and top 5 cornerback at the same time, then maybe start talking about Ohtani doesn't have what's going on. Also, Ocho Cinco went on a podcast, or I think it was First Take, and was saying that the hardest thing to do in sports is hit a baseball. Yeah. So let's give baseball some credit, guys.
Sports science sure to prove this. You think Dion would be like, "Hey, buddy, it's actually pretty hard." I pause so I don't clip this part because I'm not going to clip this part. I don't think Travis Hunter is going to make the NFL. That is my Jorden prediction. I just don't see it. I don't.
Is it going to be a burnout?
I feel like what's going to happen is he's going to try to play both. It's going to fail at probably fail at being cornerback before he fails at being a wide receiver. And as he fails at being a wide receiver, he's just not going to have it. He doesn't have his guy as his quarterback anymore unless Dion works some magic behind the scenes, unless we get some political deals behind the scenes. But I just don't see Travis Hunter making it as a star in the NFL. Probably be a wide receiver 3 for a couple of years. I just don't see it happening. I will not clip this. I will not say this because I don't believe Colorado fans will be very happy with me. But I just don't see it happening.
Fuck them. They're Colorado fans. Who gives a shit? Sanders is going to leave in a couple of years anyways. Who cares?
He's going to leave next year if he can. He doesn't care. His son is he's done the Lonzo Ball gambit except in a very different way, which was he got his sons in. At least Shador. I don't know where Shiloh's going to go. Maybe Shiloh can be the rapper of the group. But he got Shador and Travis Hunter, who's not a son, but Travis Hunter didn't go to Florida State for him. So I think maybe that's he got his wish, got his goal. He got 2 of his sons in the NFL. One of his sons to become a rapper or videographer or something. I think one of his sons actually is a videographer who releases great stuff for Colorado. So no hate to that son. That son's doing a great job. Very cool stuff. But that's all really happening in the NFL. I think the draft is in a month or so. I don't know.
More than a month and a half.
Month and a half. Okay.
End of April.
End of April. Who knows where anything is? I'm tired. You're tired. You've had a hell of a week. I've just had a bad day. Not bad day, just a long ass day. And 3 more coming my way. But again,
let's get to the weekend, man. Yeah, we got this.
Get to the weekend. We can see Alabama Auburn again. So while you're taking pictures, you'll be taking pictures, and I'll be in the corner.
I mean, listen. I might wait till halftime to take your pictures. It'd be like, Jorden, we need you for this, and this, and this, and this, and this. Yeah. We're gonna do it all during halftime, and you're gonna be like, great.
And I'll tell you what's the score. How's everyone playing?
Beautiful.
Alabama might be dead at that point. I do want to say one thing. Oscars sucked as always because I don't like award shows. With that said, I love Conan O'Brien deeply.
He's so fucking good.
He's so funny. There was one joke that's not getting enough credit, which was in Europe they're called kilometer and kilometry. Miles Teller and Miley Cyrus. And that was an incredibly classic Conan joke where he just shook his head as he said, he's like, this is a dumb joke.
Dumb, but I'm going to let it go.
It's dumb, but he's like, it's kind of funny. It's it's so dumb, it's funny. And I was watching, I laughed at that part and no one else laughed. I was like, that's the funniest joke he said all night.
I don't know. I was pretty partial to we're halfway through the show. So this is the point where Kendrick Lamar comes out and calls Drake a pedophile.
And then he goes, I'm lawyered up, which is
I'm lawyered up.
Yeah. Also, at some point you said 2 online. My 2 online thing of the week is the JD Vance memes are so fucking funny to me.
Dude, I don't remember the last time I saw a picture of JD Vance, a regular picture of JD Vance.
The funniest part is like it's not one sided. This is a bipartisan effort. I keep seeing like threads of people like drop your rarest JD Vances. And it's just like nonstop. I've seen left and right accounts posting JD Vance.
I've seen a decent amount of people on Facebook and Twitter saying like MAGA people being like, why did it have to be him? He could have paid, like, we voted for Trump, but why did he have to go with JD Vance? He sucks. And I'm like,
oh,
what did they do to you?
That's a very Facebook take. I'll say that. That's not the Twitter take. That's not to get Jorden knows politics, but that's a very boomer Facebook take.
Okay, there we go.
Younger, like MAGA people love him because he's the joke that I've been seeing going around is like, listen, the funniest part of this is that JD Vance is so terminally online. He's seen these, like he's seen all of them, and he probably thinks they're funny. And so that's a very that's a very boomer take. As someone who hates boomers with a passion, that's a very boomer take. As Jorden knows politics. So yeah, the Twitter take seems to be JD Vance as a little fat child is very funny, and I have some very rare ones myself. I have my collection. Sometimes I'll just like text my girlfriend a new one I found. She's like, "Stop!" I'm like, "I can't."
Why?
I'm like, "I can't." Do you not want to see? Hold on. You want to
listen? We went and saw baby cute miniature cows for you. You got to put up with my JD Vance memes now.
Which one I sent her? I sent her a whole. This is the one I sent her. I don't know if this can.
Oh my god. He's purple.
That's not even the worst one I've had. There are so many other good ones. I have my rare JD Vance collection. So that's like one of the funniest bipartisan things we've done as a country since the Four Nations. We always said, Canada, be careful. Better not win. And then McJesus. Well, what can you say?
McJesus.
And also Austin Matthews. As we've learned, Austin Matthews was at fault for that goal. So that's I don't know. I'm trying to think of a guy who's let me down.
Just don't do that in the playoffs, Mr. Matthews.
Yeah, that's Mr. Matt. Actually, he probably will, given his track record. So I'll be sad. But at least, I don't know. I have no good thought on that.
I'm very excited for listen, before we get to playoff hockey, obviously we got to get through March Madness, which is going to be phenomenal. But I am excited for playoff hockey this year.
It's gonna be a great time. We finally I watched the finals last year. I was like, this is cool. Apparently, I watched the Kachuk brothers. Didn't know who the fuck they were. But this is the issue we're actually gonna watch. We're like, oh, we know not only what's happening, but too like the teams, also the players. So it'll be a fun time. I cannot wait for playoff hockey. But like you said, March Madness season, baby. I'll be at the AAC championship next week in person, which is always a fun time. But I forgot to mention Memphis UAB. So this is my last second basketball thing. Fun game. Fantastic game. UAB, you probably know something about UAB. Remember Jorden Jelly that PMT loved back like 2 years ago? He was a UAB guy. UAB in March just remembers that, oh yeah, it was time to play basketball. And so they play really good basketball. And they took Memphis to the line. I still love Memphis, heart and soul. Penny lost his entire coaching staff at the beginning of the season. He's turned it around. They're probably going to win the AAC. Just really cool. So I like the game. Again, I hear my dad was watching like USF and someone else. I'm like, Dad, this is if you get through this game, the reward is Memphis versus UAB. It was a fantastic game. So that's all I have for this week. I'm glad we got to 50 minutes, kind of. So
I'm shocked. I was like, this might be our first 30-minute episode.
Well, we're at 35. I was like, oh, we're almost done. And then we talked about the Oscars and JD Vance memes. So we're now a variety show. So thank you all. Brian, where can people find you? Actually,
you can find me across all social medias at Auricpolaris, AURICPOLARIS. I think the only stream I have planned for this week is going to be on Thursday afternoon, maybe even closer to evening. Then next week will be pretty heavy. I'm going to try and do it 5 times because I'm off of school. The only thing I really have to do is edit and clip the podcast. So it's going to be pretty sweet. But then after that will be another break because I'm going on my honeymoon.
You get to see me talk to myself probably for 40 minutes, which I'm going to be able to pop in and at least do it for 10, 15 minutes. Basically give my first round. Yeah. first round analysis. And I'll take a Monday morning podcast stance and just talk to myself for 40 minutes. You can find me on Jordan's Thoughts on Twitter, where I'll tweet things like Wagner had a guy named Churchill Bounds and didn't even try once to horse around in this final minute. Yes, that got 4 impressions.
Banger
of a tweet. And before that, I tweeted about fruit futures, and how it's better than betting on the Big South. So just follow me and you get all that good stuff. Jordan's Thoughts on Twitter. Follow Moonsam Sports, where you can also find all my stuff on Facebook, Instagram, X, Twitter, YouTube, and TikTok while supplies last. Thank you so much for listening this week.
That gets me every time.
Thank you. That's a kilometer and kilometry joke. Thank you so much for listening. We appreciate you listening. Have a wonderful rest of your week. If you're getting married this weekend, have a wonderful weekend, and we will see you next week.
Stay beautiful.